Hi there, my name is Erik and I play bass, and today we are checking out the Tonex BASS from IK Multimedia. Before we get started with this video, this is a sponsored video by IK Multimedia. However, all thoughts and opinions voiced in this video are entirely my own. So a few weeks back, IK Multimedia reached out and asked if I wanted to check out the new Tonex BASS, and I of course said yes, which is why you're watching this video right now. The Tonex BASS comes packed with bass presets and bass captures that range from everything from a nice and pristine and clean tone to some heavily distorted and gritty bass distortion, which is rather cool if I may say so myself. On the top here you have an input jack, you have a stereo output option, you have a headphone output, you have your MIDI in and your MIDI out, and an expression control and the USB input, and it runs on 9 volts. If you hold down the C button, you get access to a tuner, and you can access 3 presets as you go here on this very unit, which is rather cool if I may say so myself. These controls allow you to control the gain, the bass, the mid, the treble, and the overall volume. And if you hold down the parameter control, you get control over the reverb, the compressor, the noise gate, and the presence and depth controls. One improvement of the Tonex BASS for us bass players is that the mix control allows you to blend between a clean DI signal and a process signal without any phase cancellation issues. That is an improvement that they've done on the Tonex BASS. You also get access to the Tonex plugin that is, well, this, but in a plugin format. The access to the plugin version of the Tonex is something that I really enjoy, and that makes my life as, you know, both a producing bass player as well as a bass player a whole lot easier. This is something that also Line 6 do with Helix Native, and in a way NeuralDSP do that with their plugins that you can in some cases load into the quad cortex. However, the Tonex plugin is exactly like the Tonex pedal, which is rather nice. So with that being said and done, let's check out the first mix example. You're gonna hear a full-on metal mix. I'm using a profile of the Darkglass B7K running into an Ampeg 810 cabinet from the Tonex library, and you'll also see the additional plugins that I'm using in the mix chain so that you get an idea of what's going on. I'm running the Logic stock compressor before the Tonex plugin, and then we got some EQ and the adaptive limiter going after the Tonex plugin. But with that being said and done, let's check out some metal, shall we? But the Tonex BASS also does some really nice and warm vintage bass tones. So with that being said and done, let's check out an example of me playing my 1963 Fender P-Bass with flat-wound strings going through the Tonex as well. And you'll see the full signal chain broken down in this clip as well. So in a studio setting, the Tonex profiles sound utterly amazing. I was pretty darn blown away by the quality of a lot of the profiles done by IK Multimedia and featured in the Tonex BASS. They sound really, really, really good. Really blown away by how well they sound. In a live setting, there are a few things that I feel that the Tonex BASS should have featured to make things a wee bit easier for us bass players. One thing is that I would have wished for an XLR output on the unit itself, as a lot of us bass players are now running straight to front of house these days. However, in my humble opinion, where this unit really shines is when you incorporate it into your existing pedal board setup or when you combine it with another digital unit. I've got a pedal board hooked up here with the Darkglass anagram, and I'm gonna hook this Tonex bass up into the effects loop and you'll see what I mean, so stay tuned. So now we got the Tonex bass hooked up to the effects loop of the Darkglass anagram. In the anagram I'm running the bus compressor going into some pedals that are currently bypassed. Then we're going into effects loop. In the Tonex bass I'm running the SVT Classic with the accompanying 810 cabinet. Then we're going back into the anagram and into the limiter and into the noise suppressor, and here's what that sounds like. So as you can hear, it sounds pretty darn good. One thing that I really enjoy about the Tonex profiles is that they respond in a very living way to your playing. It starts to growl. And cleans up when you play lighter, so that's pretty darn neat. However, for live I would probably go about something like this with the anagram. I would probably cut away some of the lows here, 65 or something hertz. And probably do the same with some of the highs, I guess. Something like that, I guess. And that is something that I wish that IK Multimedia would have included with the Tonex bass itself. However, it is what it is, and this works fine if you ask me. So this is the clean tone. And a more modern tone. So yeah, I mean, without a Tonex, here's what that tone sounds like. So yeah, the Tonex bass is just an amazing sounding pedal, and the profiles that IK Multimedia included with the Tonex bass are just amazing sounding, if you ask me. I'm really blown away with how good they sound, and the cabs also sound really good. If you're running, say, like I did for the metal example, the B7K into the Ampeg 810, I mean, that's a tone that actually works in a mix, if you ask me. So really blown away with how good the profiles sound. So let's address some of the features that we haven't talked about of the Tonex bass. We have, of course, a compressor in the unit, which serves more as a way to balance out your presets rather than, you know, compress them in a more bass player friendly way, if you will. We have, of course, reverb and delay, which I guess if that's your jam, good for you. The Tonex bass also has a chorus, which sounds actually pretty good. And that's a pretty nice sounding chorus, if you ask me. However, aside from that, the effects are more guitar oriented, if you will. So those are the features of the Tonex bass, and here are some of my thoughts on this unit. Let's start off with the good. First and foremost, this is not a good nor great sounding unit. It's an amazing sounding unit. They've done a great job with the profiles that you get in this unit. Some are, of course, less amazing than others, but the Tonex bass features some of the best sounding clean bass tones that I've ever heard in a digital unit or plugin. So I'm really blown away with how great or amazing they sound, actually. So that alone is, you know, worth the money in my humble opinion. Another great feature is the Tonex plugin that you get with this unit. This means that you don't need to hook this one up to reamp through it. You can actually do everything in the box, which for me is a massive plus. It saves me a whole lot of time, makes everything a whole lot easier, so a huge plus for the plugin version of the Tonex. It's just, you know, amazing and really easy to use. So on the downsides, we have, of course, the lack of XLR outputs and the fact that using the unit itself to tweak the parameters is actually quite tricky. You need to hook your Tonex up to your computer if you want to be able to tweak out your presets properly. Using the unit itself can be quite clunky and not as fluid, and I'm not the first guy to mention this. I know that quite a few other players have mentioned this, both on the previous Tonex and the Tonex bass. So that is what it is, and as it is now, I would not bring this unit alone to a gig. I would bring this along with a pedal board, or like I showed in this video, with the dark glass anagram, because when you can, you know, correct those tiny, you know, details, you know, add some low cut, add some proper compression, well, then this unit is just second to none with how good it sounds. It sounds amazing. However, on its own, it lacks some of the features that I myself personally need for the gigs that I play. However, paired with a pedal board or with a digital unit like the dark glass anagram, the Tonex bass is second to none with how good it sounds. Especially some of the clean tones here are just stellar, and I'm super impressed with how good this unit sounds. So with all this being said and done, all applicable links are down in the video description. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. My name is Erik and I play bass, and I'll see you guys and gals and cats and dogs in the next video. Until next time, take care. Bye.